I just said to the audience, I don't know if this show is going to work for a lot of people. And I've heard from people, too, that agree with me, but they say you're preaching to the choir. I know that. I know that. But you know what? The choir's got to get out of the loft. The choir's got to get out of the loft. And this is different than where we have been before. You don't need to understand it anymore. I think we all understand it. Don't we all understand it? Yes. You look at those things that happened just yesterday. Yes. And I got it. I got it. We're in trouble. So now what do? I am not a preacher, and I am not a guy. I am the worst guy to bring you this stuff, really. I mean, I'm the guy who if I would have been obedient, I would have been prepared for this time. But I was afraid of what I heard in my prayers. Read your scriptures because you're going to need them. I don't want to need my scriptures. I don't want to need them. I like my life the way it was. And I was afraid of what that meant. And I didn't know what it meant, but I think it means right now because I wish I knew these better than I do. But 2 weeks ago, I was praying, what message do people need to hear? What do you want me to say? Because I don't know what to say. And I heard that I should read Jeremiah. And I don't like reading those guys because it never ends up well. Never really a happy ending. And when I got to Jeremiah 7, it's like, you know how sometimes you read and this just got on fire and I'm like, okay, this is it. Call a rabbi friend of mine in Jerusalem and he said, I can't teach you Jeremiah. And I said, well, there's 2 chapters that I really kind of need to know. And he said, well, what 2 chapters? Because only 2 chapters we are allowed as rabbis to teach to Gentiles because there's only 2 chapters that apply. And I said, well, it's 7 and 27. And he said, good news. Those are the 2 I can teach you. And so I was hoping that he would say, no, you have it wrong. And I don't. And I just wanted to take you through what it says because I think we're at that point. When we cross that line with Israel, when we cross this line with Planned Parenthood, we just crossed it. We didn't stop it. We gave them more money. Okay? That will be remembered in history books. When they look at our demise, when they look at what's happening and what we did, when we found out about it, that's going to be a black scar. We gave them more money. When we had a chance to stand with Israel next week, history books will remember us as people who chose death over life. So this is the point where God is talking to Jeremiah, and Jeremiah is like, okay, so what do you want me to say? And God's pissed. I don't know if that's the way a preacher would say it, but God was pissed. And he says, okay, let me tell you what to tell them. You better amend your ways and change everything that you do right now. You go tell them that, Jeremiah. Oh, wait, I've got a few other things. You tell them to amend their ways and change their doings, and then if they do, I will let them dwell here. Now, I happen to believe, my faith teaches me that this is a sacred land. This is one thing that's different in my faith from other Christians. We believe that this is a sacred place, that the Constitution was divinely inspired, and this land is sacred. And our faith, my faith, teaches that if we go awry, God will take it, his mighty arm, and he will wipe it clean because this land is sacred and it will not be defiled. It's like a temple. Well, what is Jeremiah saying? He's saying, the first thing he says is, you better stop listening to the liars. The liars that are telling you, the temple, the temple, the temple. It says it 3 times, the temple, the temple, the temple. What does that mean? lots of stuff about, you know, their rituals and everything else. But what basically, for us, what it means is stop listening to the people who say, we're America. It'll always be this way. There's not going to be a problem. Our money will always be worth something. It will always be like this. God's saying, stop listening to the liars.